We've got just about 1 month, a month and a day until the 2025 NFL Draft. And on today's episode, I'm going to rank the Packers' options with the number 23 pick. I'm going to try my best to put those glasses on, those Goody glasses on, and I'm going to let you guys know what I think is going to be the best available options for the Green Bay Packers. Now, I want to keep this as realistic as I can. So I'm just going to let you know right now. Mike Green, Will Johnson, Shemar Stewart, those three guys are three guys you're not going to hear from. I'm not going to talk about because I don't think they make it to 23. Every single one of these names you're about to hear are guys that I can see in one way or another making it to the 23rd selection. Before we get into my rankings, though, help me out. Okay, help me earn some brownie points because it's Kennedy's and my 1-year wedding anniversary. So to show her she's the best, to show her guys some support, and help me win some brownie points with the old ball and chain, go ahead and like today's video. So starting with ranking the number 23 options, let's start with Jahdae Barron, cornerback out of the University of Texas. Now, I've seen this guy rise up a decent bit of mock draft boards over the past couple of weeks, but I still would not be surprised to see him fall at 23. I mean, he played 16 freaking games, and he allowed only 279 yards, didn't allow a single touchdown, and got 16 pass breakups with 5 interceptions. Barron fills in the gap you have at quarterback. And he fills it in even better, in my opinion, because he's a guy who just showed you I'm durable. I can be there. I just played 16 freaking games. Okay, 16, ladies and gentlemen. And when you look at the depth chart, Jair Alexander is all but gone. I hate to break it to you. And so I truly and firmly have confidence in Jahdae Barron to slide right in there. And I don't think that we might not even notice because he is going to be a star in this league. I can promise you that. There's a reason he's been climbing up draft boards. There's a reason a lot of guys have been taking him in the top 15 of some mock drafts. It's because he's caught a lot of people's attention. And in my opinion, he should be the number one target for the Green Bay Packers come April. Let me know in the comment section down below. Name them for me. Who is your number one player that could fall to 23? I'm about to give you 5 of mine. My number one's Jahdae Barron. You let me know yours in the comment section down below. Let's go to number 2. Sticking on the defensive side of the football, let's talk Mykel Williams, edge rusher out of the University of Georgia. I hate Georgia, but I have a lot of confidence in the player that Mykel Williams might be able to be. And I think that Mykel is probably the best edge scheme fit. Okay, we've talked a lot on this show, a lot on this channel about James Pearce Jr. Hint, hint, I'm probably going to talk about him in just a couple of minutes, but he doesn't fit this scheme. He doesn't fit this defense as well as Mykel does, okay? We know that Jeff Hafley likes his defensive linemen a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker, a little bit stronger. And let me tell you something, folks. Mykel Williams is exactly that. Now, none of his stats are going to blow your mind over 2024, okay? What I love about him is he came alive in the big moments against the University of Texas, right? Their biggest regular season game of the year at that point. 3 tackles, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. And then, again, against the University of Texas SEC championship, freaking Carson Beck not playing. He's injured on the sideline. He had 3 tackles and 2 sacks as well. Okay, so he came alive when his team needed him to come alive the most. That's what I love about him. He's got a knack for the spotlight. He's a really big body. He's got an incredibly high ceiling. I think he'd fit perfectly with this Green Bay Packers defense. Let's talk another Texas player, shall we? How about Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of the University of Texas? Horns up, just kidding. Always horns down. And I think that Golden ran his way into the top 20. He ran a 4.29 40-yard dash. And when you do that and also have the statistics that he had, it's going to be hard to find a lot of teams that are going to pass up on you. Okay? But a lot of people still see Luther Burden, Tenero McMillan, and Travis Hunter as better receiving options as Matthew Golden, so it wouldn't shock me in the slightest to see him still there at number 23. And let's talk about some things I love about Golden. A lot like I just talked about Mykel, he came alive in his biggest times in the biggest games, okay? the SEC championship game against Georgia, the quarterfinal game against Arizona State. In those two games, he had 15 catches, 311 yards combined. He's got a massive catch radius for somebody who's as fast and as quick as he is. He's got such a big catch radius, and he's also got unreal speed. Okay, that was his unofficial 40 time before the combine. Now I just showed you it's 4.29. This guy is a straight burner. And I've talked about this a ton on this channel. I always have said there's 3 wide receivers I believe can be wide receiver 1s year 1 in the National Football League. It was the 3 I just mentioned: McMillan, Burden, and Travis Hunter. I think Matthew Golden over the last couple of weeks has climbed that ranking in my eyes, and I think he could be a wide receiver 1 for this team and for any team he goes on in the National Football League. So what say you? Let me know, what round should the Packers select a wide receiver? Do you want it to happen early, round 1, round 2, or do you believe in the depth in this class and you'd be fine taking one round 3 or round 4? Let me know in the comments section. A very familiar name and a very familiar face on this program, James Pearce Jr., edge rusher out of my alma mater, the University of Tennessee. And James Pearce is an athletic freak. He's 6'5", 245 pounds, always is, he could put on a little bit more muscle. That's why a lot of people don't think he's necessarily a scheme fit in Green Bay because of his size or lack thereof. But he ran a 4.47 40 time, had 38 tackles, 7.5 sacks this last year with the Tennessee Volunteers. But what I love about James Pearce Jr. is he's just so consistent with the pressure he gets to the quarterback. And I think that was one of the things that Green Bay was lacking in 2024. They got to the quarterback, they could sack him with the best of them, but it was like if they weren't sacking him, they weren't really pressuring him. And James Pearce Jr., 55 pressures in just 12 games at Tennessee, he showed out. He was in the grill of the quarterback almost every single snap. And I believe the same will be said about him just a year after his first year rookie season in the National Football League, okay? Sure, he missed some sacks. He's got a lot to improve on. He's incredibly raw, but all of the potential in the world is right there with James Pearce Jr. Prove it for me. Do you want the Packers to draft an edge? Because I do, ladies and gentlemen. If you want them to, just like me, go ahead, hit that thumbs up button, like today's video, and let me know how you're feeling. Let's talk our last option at number 23, Derrick Harmon, the defensive tackle out of the University of Oregon, a guy who we haven't talked about yet on the program, but that ends today. Because 5 sacks from the interior, 55 pressures from the interior as well. That all added up with 45 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 4 pass breakups, and 2 fumbles. He's got a lot of good to him, okay? He had a 91.2 grading in his true pass set pass rush. He had 39 hurries. That was the most in the NCAA. And he had a pass rush win rate of 18.8%. That also led the NCAA. Now, of course, with the good, like every single scouting report we do on this channel, there will be some bad. And there is some bad with Derrick Harmon. His tackling grade was a 29.8. It's a bottom 12 of FPS. Okay? He had a 27% missed tackle rate. That was horrific. And he had a stop rate that was 64th in FBS. All of those things are very, very rare for a guy you're talking about taking in the first round of a draft. But I think when you combine them with how good of a pass rusher he is, it's a little bit easier to overlook those things. Okay, a lot of that, in my opinion, is because he just got in the backfield so damn fast, the running back just makes one move right after getting the handoff, and Harmon misses them. Now, you don't want him to always miss those, but you can kind of understand where he's coming from. He's a purely pass-rushing defensive tackle, and Green Bay, honestly, ladies and gentlemen, they need that. If they're not going to get it from their edge rushers, if they're not going to get it from their exterior, I wouldn't mind them adding it from the interior in Derrick Harmon. We know Jeff Hafley loves his defensive tackles. We know this defense is built off of the defensive tackle. Derrick Harmon could come in here and give you something you haven't really seen before on the interior in a pass-rushing specialist, okay? Here are the 5. Pick one to draft. Jahdae Barron, Mykel Williams, Matthew Golden, James Pearce Jr., Derrick Harmon. Those are the 5. You let me know down below by typing their initials, as always. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure while you're down there, go ahead and like today's video. And if you haven't already, hit that sub button.